Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us super early. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes for people to trickle in, probably to jump from another Zoom call into this one before we get started. But in the meantime, if you have been joining us for under the 2030 movement, we would always love to hear where everyone is calling in from, especially those, who are joining us live. So do take a moment to share with us, where you are calling in from, as well as your name, and maybe for the purpose of this session, like which industry you're currently working in, so that the GoDaddy team just have a better understanding of who's joining us in the live Zoom room today. So I just dropped the note in the chat, share with us all of this information. And also, please be sure to, whenever you send out that message, just be sure to toggle to everyone. So I think Zoom auto default that to just the host and the panelists alone. So if you send that to just the host and the panelists, only a handful of us can see your message. So be sure to toggle that to everyone so that the greater group can see your message as well. We're just going to give it maybe around 3 or maybe 4 to 5 more minutes for people to trickle in. So yeah, do share with us where you are calling in from, as well as your name. We love to hear more about where everyone is at the moment. All right, so we have the very first taker over here. We have Jaslyn calling in from Singapore. So Jaslyn is currently an undergrad student. So I suppose you maybe want to join us to find out more about how you establish a digital portfolio, to secure great internships and great employments afterwards. So be sure to, stay tuned. And I think the GoDaddy team will be addressing that portion as well. Right, so for those of you who have just joined us and is wondering what's going on, we're just going to give it a few more minutes for people to trickle in before we get started. But in the meantime, we will always love to hear where everyone is calling in from, as well as your name. So do take a moment, to drop us a note in the chat, share with us where you are calling in from, your name, as well as the industry you're currently working in, so that we just have a better understanding of who's joining us in the live Zoom room today. Right. So we also have Veronica calling from Sydney, and Veronica is working in the hospitality industry. That's great. Anyone else? Maybe I'll just drop this note in the chat again. I think it doesn't display anymore after if you join us after I send out that message. Right. So I love how like the first 5 message, people are calling in from all over. We have Anna calling from Sydney, working in an engineering consultancy company. We also have John calling in from Brisbane, who is a risk manager in a local government. And we also have Dina calling in from the Philippines, and Dina is working in the insurance industry. Right, amazing. I love how everyone is calling in from all over the place and working in all sorts of different industries, how diverse this group is. So I hope that you'll be able to learn a lot from this session and take away a thing or two about how to build and maintain a great digital presence. All right, so we also have Sharad calling in from India, and Sharad is currently a UX UI student. So I imagine that you're here to find out more about how to build a great UX portfolio, Sharad. All right, we also have Kitty calling in from Indonesia, working in the education sector. Kitty from Hong Kong, working for an NGO. I love how diverse this group is. I feel like we have 8 to 9 messages, and everyone calling in from different places and also working in very diverse industries. So hopefully, you walk away with something great to learn after today's session. All right, we also have Chris calling in from Sydney. Hi, Chris. I think for the Australia folks calling in today, it's actually around lunchtime, your time now. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and hope that you have something yummy to accompany you through this lunchtime session. Yeah, Shara has confirmed that he's indeed here to hopefully put together a great UX portfolio. Yeah, hopefully you'll be able to learn that, Shara. All right, so we also have Bruno calling in from Seattle. Hi, Bruno, great to see you. I'm not sure how what time it is in Seattle right now. I think it's pretty late, if I'm not wrong. Thank you so much for still joining us, even though it's quite late your time. To those who are just joining in and is wondering what's going on, we're just, waiting for people to trickle in. I think people might sometimes, I think Zoom does get clogged up a little bit. So we just want to give everyone enough time to trickle in and to get settled out before we get started. But in the meantime, we're just doing a huge round of introduction right now. We would love to hear where you are calling in from, your name, as well as maybe what industry you're working in, so that we just have a very better understanding of who's joining us in the Zoom room today. But so far, from what I see, very, very diverse group, everyone calling from all different places and working in all sorts of different industries. Right, so we also have Diane calling in from Trinidad and Tobago. Right, so I see that we are around 3 minutes past the start time, and I know that we have a lot to cover for today. People are still trickling in, but I'm also very aware of the short amount of time that we have. So maybe I just want to go ahead and do my very quick bit of introduction so that we can leave more time for the great discussion ahead. All right, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time of your very busy day to join us for another session. We always really appreciate it when people are able to join us live. We love the engagement, the discussion and the interaction that we have with our community. So thank you so much for being here, wherever you are. I think people are calling in from all over the world today. Right, so my name is Hul and I'm the marketing manager for General Assembly. So we are so excited to have you here for this event, which is actually part of our bigger event series, which is called the 2030 movement. So the 2030 movement, as the name suggests, it is a very future forward, looking towards the next decade has in place for us. So a lot of the events under this series are covering things like evolving industry trends, emerging technologies, as well as new cultures that are shaping the way that we work, live, and play. So this session is no exception, of course. In this day and age, it's not good enough to just have a physical presence. You also need to have a very strong, solid digital presence to establish yourself and also to advance further in your career, as well as anything else that you desire in your life as well. So that's why we put together this session, which is in partnership with GoDaddy. Thank you so much to the GoDaddy team for joining hands with us to bring together this series. So this session is called "Are You Real If You Don't Have a Solid Digital Presence?" So leading this session will be Kaling, who is the social media and content marketing lead for APAC for GoDaddy. And I know that she's also accompanied by her colleague, Jet, as well. So we're looking forward to hearing from both of them on this topic. All right, so just before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of our partners and speakers. So you can see all of their logos are over here. It always brings a smile to my face whenever I take a look at this, because they are really the real heroes behind this series. They have very generously, come together, share with us their insights, their stories, what their thoughts on, where the next decade has in store for us. So we thank them for all of their great insights and taking the time to join us. Do check out all of us. Check out all of them on the website, as well as the upcoming events. All right, so just a very quick note on how to participate in today's session. So if you haven't noticed yet, this is a webinar format. So that means that you are not visible or audible to anyone else in the audience. So no worries about distracting backgrounds or noises. But if you want to participate in today's session, and I highly suggest that you do so, if you have any burning questions, ask away. Just that you will have to be aware of some of the functions that you will have. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, there should be a function bar and you should have access to a couple of functions. I just want to draw your attention to the chat, which is where you can, some of you have already started using that to introduce yourself and to make comments. Or you can answer any questions that Kaling or Jade might be posing to you later on. But if you have any questions at all to the GoDaddy team, to GA, to about anything at all, of course, please be sure to pop any questions in the Q&A box. It will really help us out to make sure that all of the questions are in one place, that we do not miss out on any of your questions. If you pop it in the chat, I think chances are we might miss out on that with the chat activity. So be sure to drop any questions in the Q&A box. I know the GoDaddy team will be sure to either address it live if they can, or there's also a team in the background to help type out the answers. So be sure to ask any questions that you have. Right, so as I mentioned, we're actually on to week 2 of 2030. So I know that the series are coming to an end. Really sad about that. But we still have so many great sessions that are coming up ahead. So right after this session, we have another event from the Clipchamp team. So they are talking about how do we deliver bite-sized content. So if you're like a marketer, a content creator, and you're keen on that, do join us later on today as well. And then again at 4 p.m., health tech is all the rage today. It's really the industry that are really very heavily transformed in the past year by all of the amazing technology. So do be sure to join us at 4 p.m. Singapore time or 6 p.m. Australia time for a session on that. And of course, tomorrow we also have a session with Indeed. I think Indeed is more known in the APAC region, but it's basically a recruitment company. So if you want to know more about how companies meet the changing need of today's workforce, do join us tomorrow, same time as well. Right, and if you haven't noticed yet, every event is under a particular theme. So of course, this event is under future workforce theme. So we assume that if you like this session, you probably also like these other sessions under the same theme as well. I know there have been a lot of names thrown around, a lot of links, but again, everything is going to be on our website, which is the 2030movement.com, which is on this side of my head, I think. So do be sure to just check out the website, and then you can just RSVP for the sessions from that main website. All right, so after this session, if you'd like to take your learning one step further, you can join our paid workshops with the code Future is Bright. So take 50% off all of our paid workshops. Just note that this code is exclusive to this series and it will expire on 30th September. So do be sure, which is the final, which is this Thursday. Yeah, so be sure to take advantage of that. And see you in the next workshop that we have. And last but not least, you also receive an email from us after this. So if you want to, get in touch with us, you can just reply to that email. But what we ask of you is that after the session, we actually also will be sending out a survey form to ask for your feedback. So do take a couple of moments to complete that form. Leave us with your constructive feedback so that we can continuously improve on our future events. And last but not least, do follow us on our social media platforms. We post about great events like this one, as well as other exciting things that are happening in the APAC region. So that is all from me. I will not take any more of your time. I will first pass the time to Ka-Ling to get us started. Over to you, Ka-Ling.
Thank you, Hong, and thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. It's a really, really great morning, afternoon, night. I love GA for the fact that I've always been speaking to people around the world, so I'm very happy to be speaking to you again today. Give me a minute. Let me just share my screen. All right, cool. So welcome again, and thank you for joining us. Firstly, thank you to General Assembly for having GoDaddy at today's session. So today we are going to be talking about, I would say, a rather existential question. Are you real if you don't have a digital presence? And just before I start, my name is Ka-Ling, and I'm the social media and content marketing lead for GoDaddy APAC. And today, the topic that we're talking about is really about how do you build a digital presence? Basically, how do you build an online presence? And before I start, I just want to give you a bit of background about GoDaddy. GoDaddy, for many of you who might have known us previously, we are one of the largest domain registrar in the world, but at the same time, we are also a one-stop shop for anybody who's aspiring to go online. And that's the reason why we are here today. So just to recap, my name is Ka-Ling, and I have my social handles there if you want to follow me. And also together with me today, I have my very capable GoDaddy guide, Jade. Say hi, Jade.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
So Jade will also be giving you a demonstration later on to tell you how easy it is to build your online presence. So in this case, let us quickly move on. So before we get started, today's question is a very interesting one. Are you real, right? So, I would like to think that I'm semi-real, because I do have, drips and drabs of my online presence, here and there. But I wanted to hear from you, Jade, are you real? And also, have you ever tried to search for your own name online?
Actually, I have. Just recently, I did I was a bit bored, so I tried searching for my name in Google, and I was a little surprised about what I found.
Oh, really? What did you see?
Yeah, well, fortunately, nothing very embarrassing. But I saw some things that I did in the past that I actually forgot about, and they're still connected to my name. I saw links to my social media profile. So I guess like you, I am real online as well, because I show up in Google.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that could be one of the definitions because I did the same thing, right? And the interesting thing is because, right, there are bits and pieces of me online everywhere, from like my social media profiles to, maybe a random byline that I gave to a newspaper like many years ago when I was a student, and it's kind of interesting because, right, at this juncture in our lives, right, I think we need to really think about, do these search results truly reflect who you are, right? And I think that's also a question that I would love to pose to the audience. I'm not too sure if you've ever done anything like that, but if you've not tried it before, it could be an interesting one. For me, at least, it was interesting because my name is rather unique. So I would like to think that when I search for Le Carling online, that everything points back to me. So, but yeah, I think it's something that you could really just try out and see how it goes. So let's move on. Today's agenda is going to be a really short one. This topic, honestly speaking, I can go on for days about it. There's just so much to cover, but we have 1 hour, right? So I'll try and summarize this as concise as possible. So we're going to go through the reasons why you should build an online presence, some of the elements that are important in terms of building your online presence. And we also are going to show you something that will help you to actually build this presence very easily. And this is where Jade will come in to do a demonstration. And thereafter, we will take your questions. All right, let's start. So why build an online presence? So just now we talked about basically like, whether if we are real, if we are, whether we have an online presence, are we real, right? So in this case, it is something interesting to think about in this day and age where a lot of us, we are, physically present in wherever that we are at, but at the same time, like who we are as a person. And when you are known by somebody else, right, it's when people start maybe entering your name on search or try to basically find something about you that's online, right? So I think that's the reason why it's so important to try and build an online presence. So I presume that this is not the first time that you guys are attending a webinar, like during this COVID era. And one of the most important things that we know today is the fact that more and more users are spending time online, and they are also starting to go online. Google, Temasek, and Bain & Company did a recent research, and as many as 40 million people in 6 countries around the region, and these countries that you're seeing here are all in Southeast Asia, they are coming online for the first time. And for many other people who are already online before this, right, I'm presuming that people are going online even more, right? So across these markets, right, digital engagement has increased. People are spending much more time online. And today, I do see that a lot of you are creators, or you guys are professional service providers, or just people who are trying to, build a brand name online. So you need to think about, what does this really mean for you? What does this mean for you if you want to be discovered online? So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is really the definition of an online presence, right? I think for a lot of us today, we have multiple, like online presence in different platforms. We have social media handles. And in this case, this could be where you post, some like informal updates for yourself. And even if you take that activity offline, right? If you meet somebody for the first time and you say, oh, hi, my name is Carling, and I'm a marketer, so and so. And when you try to, and especially for folks who want to, like become a freelancer and build a portfolio, you might then want to think about how these people will then be able to continue this conversation with you, right? So most of the time, that conversation gets translated to somewhere in the online space. And of course, like I mentioned earlier on, search is a very big thing that a lot of people will take in if they want to find anything, from the thing that you want to buy or somebody that you want to know more about. And if you are a freelancer today, or if you are somebody trying to build your online presence, this is something very important to think about. Because just like the conversation that Jay and I had earlier on, right? What is your personal narrative online? How do you shape what people think about you? And in this case, are the search results truly reflecting who you are? And for us at GoDaddy, I think it's very clear that a website is of utmost importance if you're trying to build an online presence, one that you can take full control of, and one that truly reflects your story, who you are, and what you do. Going a bit deeper into this, I do see that a lot of you on this panel, you guys are creators, right? So whether you're a creator or your service provider, your website is really the heart of your personal brand. So imagine today if somebody Googles your name or even like your business name, right? You will want the person who's searching for you to be able to see exactly who you think you want to be and who you think you are, right? And I think because of that, this is where a website really helps you to make a very, very strong first impression. Whether is it, showing a portfolio, whether is it like showcasing the sort of services, the sort of expertise that you have, think through the impression that you want to make and realize that when you have your own space, this is where you can make the strongest impression. Some of you might think, but I have social media profiles. I have profiles in many different platforms that allows me to be discoverable. Sure, I think it's good that you have these things, right? But I think one thing that you need to think about in terms of analogies, and when you build your presence on other platforms like social media, right? It is as if you are building, like your identity on a rented plot of land. Like this doesn't really belong to you. And I mean, shutdowns could happen. We're not saying that might happen. That might be a bit far-fetched, but think about it, just in terms of the limitations that you face, right? You might already face a lot of limits in terms of what you can do and how you can actually even show yourself. Is there a limit to how you can portray your portfolio, for example? I think these are very important questions to think about if you want to build a really strong online presence. And if you're a small business, I'm not too sure how many of you here run small businesses trying to sell something, right? I think this is something that probably we've heard like so often, in the past 1.5 years, right? I mean, the pandemic has changed the way people look at e-commerce. I've actually included some statistics here around like online shopping, online searches, people going online to buy something for the first time. This is more Southeast Asia Pacific. But I think just think about it in your own personal context, right? A lot of our activities and footprint has shifted to an online space. And I think that's the reason why we're here today, because all of us are kind of aware that in order for you to be established as and be able to reach more people through, in the shortest amount of time, right? I think this is where an online presence becomes important. And because of that, you will want to then build a space for yourself. Okay, moving on to the next portion, elements on an online presence. So now that you know like how important it is to build an online presence, right? So let's think about how do you then go about doing it? I've spoken about a website being the heart of basically your online presence. And now I'm going to move into all the different elements that you will need to then build this presence. All right, so in short, there are actually 7 different elements, and I'm going to go through them one by one. So the first and the most important thing that you need to think about is basically a domain name. So I think for a lot of people who are building a website, this probably comes naturally to you. Oh, I need to first be able to have a name, right? So think about a domain name as your online address. This belongs only to you and no one else. And if you think about your website as a house, right, before you even build a house, you need to get an address, right? So in this case, having the domain name is actually really important. And also remember that this is going to be how everybody will know you and know who you are. So it's very important that you pick the right name for yourself. This is really the core of your online presence. So how do you go about doing that, right? We have 5 quick tips here on choosing the right domain name for yourself. The first thing, and really the most important thing, something that sounds very logical, but people might forget, is the fact that you need to keep it really short and simple, and most importantly, memorable. So in this case, if you might want to use a personal name, you might want to use something that is really like short and catchy. But whatever it is, you need to make sure that it's something that people can remember very easily. Imagine if you meet somebody for the first time and you go like, oh, my website is so-and-so.com, right? You want your URL to be something that's extremely memorable. And in this case, moving on to my next point, it means that you want to avoid characters that might actually confuse people who are hearing your website for the first time, right? So in this case, you might want to avoid things like dashes, misspellings. Numbers can be helpful if these are actually significant numbers, but otherwise, right, it's actually just good to stick to alphabets. And of course, for the third point, if you are somebody who is running like a professional service, providing something that's rather niche, right, including relevant keywords within the URL could actually help you to bring in, like relevant traffic and people who are interested to find out more about what you do. Of course, whatever that you do, right, whatever name that you pick, it's important that it's something that you can protect and it's something that you can build a brand around it through other means as well. And last but not least, something that a lot of you might know, you need to actually act fast. A URL is actually, a domain name and a URL is actually something that's unique and there's only one in the entire universe. If someone else takes it from you, then it's gone, right? So if you already have a name in mind, it's very important for you to act fast and actually reserve the username online first. The next thing that we're going to look into, so now that you have a domain name, right, you have basically where you're going to build your online presence. You need to then think about how are people going to contact you, right? If they want to basically like visit you and then they want to like say hi to you. So in this case, you need to think about looking into a professional email address. So again, a professional email address is unique and it's branded, and it should ideally incorporate your domain name. So think about, all of us having our Gmails and our Hotmails. Yeah, these are, also emails as well, right? But think about also the fact that when you have your own branded professional email, it really does add credibility and legitimacy to your business, especially in front of your audiences or potential consumers, right? So I think that really gives you a stronger branding in an online presence where people know that you mean serious business, So one of the key things that you need to remember is to really match your domain name to your email. And at GoDaddy, we don't just offer domain names, we also offer professional email services plans. So in this case, you are actually able to create these things very easily on one platform. And that's something you can definitely find out more about if you're interested. Okay, now you have your address, you have a place where people can contact you. It's time to start building your home, right? Your website. So your website, to be honest, can be as simple as a one-pager. It can be as complex as, like multiple different pages, right? Because this really depends on what you do and what you want to offer. So when you enter a domain name into your browser, this is what you will then see. And in this case, this is like you inviting someone to your home, right? And how do you want to go about doing it? How do you want to decorate it? Depends on so many different factors, from what you offer to what you want to say. To people with portfolios, you might want to even have a space to display everything that you've done before so that people understand your past experiences. And one thing that I want to talk about website is the importance of actually planning. A lot of times people think, oh, let me just create a website. But after that, when they really get the space to create, they're like, oh God, where do I start, right? So I think there are 6 very simple steps that you should think about before you even embark on, like website building. And it's really the fact that you need to first identify your business goals, or just any goals in general. If you're building something for yourself, right? What do you want to do with your website? What do you want it to achieve? And in this case, after that, you might think about, who will most likely be on my website? Who are my target audiences? Who are going to be the ones who will be potentially interacting with me in my online space, right? And thereafter, when you think about that, you also should think about, as an extension, what is your unique selling proposition? So for people who are, doing like UI and UX, right? You might want to think about, what are the principles of how you design things, like what is your methodology? How do you actually create better user experiences for, like for anybody or for your previous engagements, right? Some of these things should be very, very clearly stated so that people really do understand who you are and what does your business offer. And of course, with all that in mind, right, with all these different purposes, you must be able to show them in a very, very engaging manner. So think about, how do you want to translate your objectives, your goals, and things that you want to tell your target audiences into engaging content that you will then house on your website. And one important thing to also remember, that your website is a live entity. It's an organic, like mechanism that needs to be constantly updated and optimized as you go along, right? You can't expect it to just stay there forever and not updated. It's something that people might think, oh, I'm just going to do a website and leave it there. No, that's not really the case. You do need to try to update it as much as possible so that, like people really do see like the most, I would say, the latest version of your online presence, maybe. Yeah. And last but not least, security, site security, very important. I'll go through that later on, but it's something that a lot of people might tend to forget, but it is actually crucial to build a very safe online presence. Now that you have basically your address, a place for people to contact you, and your online presence, which is like your website, your house, right? Then this is where you will want to look into other aspects of how you can then bring people to your website. And in this case, one important thing that to note is, a lot of people do searches before they land on a website, right? And that's the reason why it's important to have search-friendly content. As you're planning your content for your website, you need to think about search engine optimization. And this is basically a process where you optimize your website content, everything from the words that you're using to the images, so that search engines are able to find and display your website in relevant user searches where people are searching for you or anything that's related to the things that you do. So in this case, once you've done that already, okay, you have kind of optimized the content, start looking a little bit more outwards. And for people who are running like local businesses, where your primary target audience are people within your locale, it is important to also look into things like business listings. And this is really important because you are able to then target people who are actually within, your vicinity. So for example, if I search for like a online web service in Singapore, most likely I will be able to find, like this anybody, freelancers or people with websites where there are business listings within a local search. This is something that's really important, especially if you are primarily targeting people who are living in your locale. So last but not least, social media marketing, I believe that's something that most of you might be familiar with to different degrees. It is important. It's something that a lot of people are starting out when they will start out when they actually build an online presence. All of us do, right? But the thing is that think about combining a social media presence with a website, and that becomes more powerful because you can then actually continue the conversation beyond social media into a platform where it really shows your personal narrative and an online presence that you believe really truly reflects who you are. Last but not least, like I mentioned earlier on, online security. This is really important, and there are many, many different types of online security available for websites. But why is it so important? Because in this day and age, I think we are all aware that there are a lot of hackers and a lot of malicious attacks in the online space. And these attacks typically try to target people who are with unsecured websites, and people who are probably very new to this process, who don't really understand the importance of having things like SSL certificates and malware protection, because a lot of small business who might not be aware of this becomes easy targets for them, right? And I think that's the reason why at GoDaddy we really champion this a lot. We do want every one of our customers to actually be equipped with the right online security so that they don't just protect their website, they are also protecting the consumer and customer data that is being exchanged over the website. And that's something that's super important for anybody who wants to build an online presence that's safe and credible. All right, so we've talked so much about, like all the different elements. You must be thinking, wow, this sounds really complex. There's so many different steps, so many different little bits and pieces that I'm going to think about before I actually even build my online presence, right? I think at GoDaddy, this is something that we understood to be one of the key challenges for many of our customers. And that's the reason why we have something called the GoDaddy Website Builder. And this is really a product that's meant for anybody, even if you are not the most tech savvy person, which I'm not, by the way. So it's something that's actually extremely easy to use. Besides it being just a website builder, you can actually manage all of your online presence in one place, whether it's social media or email marketing. This can all be managed via the website builder. It's something that you can actually start for free. There's actually a 30-day trial. You can just really go around and play around with it to see if something for you. And most importantly, you are actually able to get your online presence built in a very, very short amount of time. Some of the key features of this is basically things like customizable templates, hassle-free integrations. Like I mentioned, you can manage them all in one place. These templates will allow you to actually not have to think about how do you beautify it. You can really just concentrate on the content that you want to put on your website. We also have GoDaddy Studio, and this is actually very, very pertinent for content creators or anybody who wants to create an online portfolio. You are able to use GoDaddy Studio to actually create, some of the assets that you might need to populate your website. And of course, we do have the requisite security that's already in place. And most importantly, for people who are wondering, is this the right fit for me? We actually have a 1-month free trial that you can already activate upon sign up. And you can just play around with it and try and build a website in the next 30 days to see if it's a good fit for you. With that in mind, these are all words, right? I'm now going to hand this over to Jade, my capable GoDaddy guy, and he's going to give you a very, very quick demonstration on how easy it is to build your online presence with the GoDaddy website builder. Jade, over to you.
Hey everyone. Thank you, Kaleg, for passing the mic to me. So let me go share my screen now. So hi everyone. My name is Jade, and I am going to demonstrate to you how to use the GoDaddy site builder so that you can be able to make yourself real online. So first of all, I would like to introduce you to my friend. So my friend is JP. And JP is a 26-year-old Capricorn INTJ vegan. So he's also, because he's also very thorough, he's also born in the year of the dog. So if you are Capricorn, INTJ, vegan, or if you're born from the year of the dog, give us a heart in the chat room so that we can give a shout out to you. So JP is also a fabulously creative and tireless publicity guy for a podcast called Open Mic. So Open Mic is a Philippine-based podcast that features topics that are relevant to young Filipino queer culture. Now, so far, JP and the Open Mic team has already established the following assets for their brand. So they already got their domain name, they already got their domain-based email address. They also got their social media accounts. So they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on Twitter. Um, their episodes are also available on Spotify as well as SoundCloud. So if anybody here who's attending right now has podcasts in Spotify, feel free to share it in the chat room as well. Or if you do listen to a podcast that you would like to recommend to the other attendees, feel free to also share with us. I'm always on the lookout for new podcasts to listen to. But speaking of open mic, the open mic website will be serving as another venue for the team to be able to announce new episodes from their podcast, as well as archive any old episodes and transcripts that they will be creating for their podcast. So let's take a look at how JP is going to be helping our customers, or is going to be helping uh, himself into building a website. So the first thing is JP is going to be signing up for the GoDaddy site builder free trial. So if he is going to the GoDaddy website, he can go to websites and stores, go to the site builder, and in the site builder, he can be able to start for free for the site builder. Now, after signing up for the free trial, it will ask him to identify which category is his website going to be under. So because he's going to be creating a podcast, so he's going to be choosing a podcast there. After entering podcast, he's going to be asked, what's going to be the name of the website? Of course, he's going to be naming it Open Mic. And after entering the site name, then he now is on his way to building the website. The website builder will immediately give JP hints on what he should be updating on the website, just like the contact information, the social media links, the design sections, and design the sections in the website. So JP can start building on that. Also, JP can choose which plan he would like to take after the free trial ends. Depending on the plan, it can be useful for either an informational website, just like what we're going to be creating, or if you're going to be selling products online, there is also a plan for e-commerce types of websites. But JP is going to be doing that later. So in the meantime, let's take a look at the theme that the website builder is showing JP. So the site builder uses a theme and default images that goes with the type or the category of the website that JP chose. So JP wants to see if there are other options for themes. So he decides to try a different look. So let's say he went to the theme section and he said, "You want to try a different look?" And there are several options available for you here, and you can get a preview of what they look like. So say, for example, JP wanted to get the spaces look. You can select that, and that will immediately update the preview of what the website is going to look like. JP, of course, can change the default images and the colors of the website to better align with their brand. Being real, after all, is about showing how you can stand out from the crowd. Now, as with anything, the success of a website really depends on planning. So JP decided that aside from having a homepage and an About Us page, Open Mic is also going to have a page for their episode archive. And as for the homepage, JP also decided that he wants to add a small About Us section to introduce what the podcast is about, as well as a quick preview of some of the latest episodes that they already published. Now, listing the episodes could be very easy if you add a blog on your website. Each blog update can be used for what is the newest podcast episode. So JP can be able to add a blog section on the homepage. So say, for example, he would like to add the episode list on this section. So he can select adding a section, he can choose a blog, and he can decide what format of the blog is going to look like, or how the preview of the blog is going to look like. So let's say he's going to be adding that here, or he's going to be selecting this option. Now, JP can also add another section on the website specifically for the list of the episodes. So you can be able to add a new page for it. Now, aside from blogs, the website builder has many other types of sections that you can be able to use, just like galleries, for example, or you can be able to add videos, or you can be able to add contact forms, and several others, depending on what kind of feature that your website actually needs. So let's say JP, like what we mentioned earlier, wanted to add a separate page that is going to contain the podcast episodes. So he's going to add a new page, and he's going to title it like episodes. And he would like it to show both in the navigation bar and in the footer of the website, and he can create a page. And in this new page, he's going to turn this into another blog that will display the different episodes of the podcast, for example. So he can choose a different format. Maybe this one would have longer text. That will be better. Yeah, I know blogging is such an early millennial term. I blame myself for that, being an early millennial. But the good thing about the site builders, you don't have to call it a blog. You can change it, like episodes. And I have a typo. You have to be careful when you're editing your website. You don't want to typo. You don't want typos there appearing. So make sure that you're checking the spelling of everything that you type. So you can be able to modify all of those things in the site builder. So let's go back to the home. So now that we've added those sections for the website, let's say we're going to add an episode of the podcast to the website that we created. So we can start writing our blog entry here. Come on. There you go. And then we can create a new post. And then we're going to put the title of our blog post. So I took a title here, for example, and then I'm going, of course, if you want a blog post, you want to make sure that there is an image that goes in your website. So I'm going to add an image. So let's select this one. The good thing about the site builder is you can drag and drop pictures into it. So after you've uploaded a picture, you can quickly insert it into your blog post, like so. And you can then even link that picture into, say, the podcast, for example. So I'm going to link that picture into the podcast in SoundCloud, for example. And then after that, I can also include other things. Like I can add, of course, it's an episode. I might want to put an episode summary. So I'm gonna cheat my way into it and just put lorem ipsum as my summary. And of course, you want to tell people how they're going to be listening to the episode. So you can put there something like a link on how to listen to Spotify, for example, or how to listen to SoundCloud. Say, for example, I have a SoundCloud link that I'm going to be adding here. I'm going to just highlight that section, add the link, and say that it's going to open in a new window so that my visitors can be able to listen to the podcast episode through that link. And then I can publish the blog post, and then I can go back to the editor. And let's take a look at that blog section. If you go to the blog section, then you can see that the little preview is already there. And if you go to the episodes section as well, the preview of the blog post is also going to appear on the website already. So now we were able to do all of those. So after setting up all of those blog sections, then I think we're pretty much good to go there. Oh, wait, no self-respecting creator will forget adding social media into their website, of course. So JP will want to add the social media links in their website. So he can go here in the settings, and there's a social media links section. So he can be able to add links to, say, for example, their Instagram. Now, the good thing about the website builder is he can also connect his website to those social media platforms. So say, for example, I want, or JP wants to connect the website builder to their Facebook page. So they can click on connect or create a page there, and they're going to be redirected to the social media connector. You can connect to Facebook, for example, and you can select, oh, I'm going to add open mic. And then do all of the little permissions thing that are required in Facebook. And that should begin adding the Facebook page into your website. So you just need to select open mic there. And that's going to connect the Facebook page onto open mic. Now, the good thing about connecting your website to your social media pages is you can be able to post directly on your social media pages from the website builder. So that is going to save you time to, you don't have to log into separate websites to be able to post your content. So JP, being a person who knows how to work smart, this feature allows him to cross-post from his website to the social media places in one go, and it gives him more time to watch, his favorite series on Netflix. If anybody here is watching Squid Game in Netflix, feel free to comment in the chat room. Tell us what you think about that show. But going back to the social media connection page, aside from Facebook, of course, there are other social media pages that you can be, or social media platforms that you can connect. You can connect to Facebook, to Instagram, to Twitter. You can also connect to Google My Business and several other things that you can link to your website. So they're all interconnected and you can easily cross-post. So JP continues working on his website. He added all of the sections that he already planned. And once he's finished, he can be able to choose a plan for his website builder. So say, for example, we're going to go back to our website. Now our friend JP is already done with the editing of the website. So at that point, he can already publish the website online. He can even choose to use a custom domain for the website. Now, one of the good things about the website builder is whether you're using the default website of GoDaddy or a custom domain, you will already have an HTTPS website. The website builder already comes with built-in SSL. So with this particular feature, number one, you're going to end up higher in search engines because Google likes websites with HTTPS. And it's also the perfect way for you to show your visitors and your listeners that you're real and legit. Now, building a website isn't really the only thing that JP can do in the website builder. The website builder includes other features like search engine optimization. You have online marketing features so you can better promote your podcast and gain new audience. And as a content creator, JP can go to the dashboard of the website and go to the marketing section and use the content creator of GoDaddy. So this is GoDaddy Studio that Kaleng mentioned earlier. And this tool allows a content creator to create eye-catching images that are optimized for sharing in social media. So you can be able to create Instagram stories, Instagram posts, posters and flyers, Facebook ads, and so much more. So, and there we have it. That was our quick walkthrough of the GoDaddy website builder. And let's go back to Kaleng.
Wow, thank you, Jay. That was a very, very short, snappy, but very concise introduction. So I hope every one of you are feeling more inspired and confident right now to build your online presence. And with that, let us now move to the Q&A. Give me a moment. Let me share my screen again. All right, it's time for Q&A. And before we start, right, I would also like to introduce two of my other team members who's actually with us and also very, very conscientiously answering all the questions of the past hour. I have with me Tina and Jenny. Tina is one of our marketing directors in GoDaddy, and Jenny is another one of our really, really capable GoDaddy Care guys. And if you're looking at the Q&A box right now, they have actually been busy answering all the questions that you have. But the thing is that we still have about like 12 minutes. So I am going to take some of these questions, and probably Jade might also chime in as well. So let me just quickly take a look at the Q&A box. I think there was a question that I wanted to answer live. And I have a question from Nikolenko. Sorry, I hope I got your name correctly. How important is building a first-party email list for SMEs? I think I chose to answer this question because I think for a lot of us who start out, who first start out on like building an online presence, right, you will want people to then be able to know where you're at, right? And I think that really alludes to basically the importance of having a first-party email list. And by a first-party email list, I basically mean that people who are your existing customers who subscribe to like your email email blast or anything like that, right? So this is actually really important for, I would say, anybody, because at the end of the day, right, when this actually extends beyond just building an online presence. For me, I'm actually a social media marketer as well. And for us, we understand that having a first-party email list allows you to then actually be able to look for other people who are like these people. This is true running, like various digital campaigns. I can take another I will talk about it, but that's the gist of it. But at the same time, right, when you have an email list, this is where you really know that these are the people who are the most interested to engage with you, right? So therefore, you are then able to really create, like a lot of updates and content around them. So there are many different benefits depending on whether you are a service provider or whether you are somebody who's trying to sell something. But I would say that in general, it's actually one of the most important things. And I think that's also the reason why you will want to build an online presence, right? Because how are you going to be collecting emails when you have no website, right? Because nobody will subscribe to an email list, if it's via like a social media handle. And of course, there are many other, like email platforms that are available, but I think nothing beats having your own space to talk about, like yourself and what you do, so that people are then coming back to see the same things, if they decide to say, I want to see more of that. So I think in short, it's very important in something that you can definitely look into building once you have an online presence. All right, I hope that answers your question. There are some questions that my colleague Tina and Jenny might have answered, but I'm just going to share it for the benefit of the wider audience. There are people who are actually selling products and thinking, does the GoDaddy website builder actually allow that? The website builder, I would say in general, are very suitable for content creators, people who have portfolios to show, and people who want to build a simple website. If you're looking into selling products, we have another platform called the GoDaddy eStore that will probably be more catered to your needs. The link is somewhere in the answered section. You might want to look for it. Definitely that is something that you can look into exploring if you have a physical product that you want to sell and you need to link it to things like payment gateways and stuff like that. So that's that. Let me look at other questions. I can see that my team is busy typing. So like for those of you who have asked questions, you might want to check the Q&A box because your question might already have been answered. So yeah, let me see. Okay. Okay, so there's a very interesting question about okay, I'm trying to look for it. I really okay, I think my team might have already answered the question because I was planning to answer that live. So there was a very interesting question about whether GoDaddy having GoDaddy coming on board right now spells the end for website developers, and basically another question around like, how would the scene basically change, right? Actually, the answer is no, definitely not. In fact, actually, right, our one of GoDaddy's biggest partners is actually fellow like developers and website builders, right? Because the thing is that everybody has different needs and demands when it comes to website building. So definitely, this is not something that is meant to replace, developers. In fact, actually, our thing is actually a good tool for that complements what a developer has in his or her arsenal, right, to be able to build something for the customers. And that's something that is very important for GoDaddy. And that's the reason why we have a lot of other programs that are actually targeted at developers to help make their lives easier. So the answer to that, the short answer to that is actually no. Yeah. Okay, let's see if there are other questions that we can answer. Okay, there are some questions around like chatbots and basically other chat integrations. I think maybe if Jade, would you be able to chime in on that to see if any of our current existing products are able to integrate chat functions within our existing platform builders? Yeah.
Hey, I heard my name being called.
Yes.
Yeah, we do have one product called eStore. So that is our e-commerce store builder that can integrate with Facebook Messenger and Instagram, so that customers can be able to sign in or send messages that way. The other products, not quite. It's mostly like cross-posting. Like for the site builder, it's mostly for cross-posting for Facebook pages. But I would recommend putting like a contact us section on your website, so that if you can be able to include like maybe QR codes or links, so that people can click on that, so that they can be routed to the Messenger page and other messaging applications. Then the more methods that you use there, the more likely the wider the audience that you can get from to your website.
Cool, thank you. All right, let me see if there are other questions. Actually, the thing is, I realized that Jenny and Tina, they are hard at work trying to answer most of these. So I'm gonna quickly share share some of these slides. So I have Shabir. Hi Shabir, who's asking whether the GoDaddy website builder comes with SEO. The answer is yes. I would say that one thing to note for SEO is the fact that this is actually a process that can take some time to really build, your to basically have your website to be ranked on Google. And there's quite a lot of ongoing optimizations to do. And that's the reason why we do have an inbuilt tool that allows you to do that without having to think about too many of the different things like, the keywords they're using, or whether is it like how your website is actually being named and things like that. But the short answer is yes. But for anybody who's interested in SEO, right? If you go to our Facebook page, there is actually a previous webinar that we've done where we talk extensively about SEO and how you can actually get your website to rank. And also, if you visit our blog, the asia.godaddy.com/blog, there are actually a lot of resources that you can look into where we go into detail about how you can build SEO. Because this is actually a topic that will probably take another like 1 or 2 hours long. There's actually a lot of like methods and a lot of things that you need to take note of so that you are able to get your website to rank. Yeah, let me see if there are any other questions. Keep them coming. Thank you so much. This is one of the sessions where we are getting a lot of very, very good questions. So yeah, I have a question around, do you have a customer supporting to answer questions about website designing? Yes, we do. In fact, actually, Jay and Jenny, who is with us today, they are from our GoDaddy Guides team, and they are actually available to help you answer any of these questions. And if you're interested to find out more, after the Q&A, I will be actually dropping a link where you can request them to give you a call back and, ask them anything, ask them how you want to, what's the best way to build your website. They are fully equipped to answer any of the questions. Cool. Let's see. There are some questions around like blog sites and podcasts. For folks who are actually looking at specific resources for a vertical, right? You can definitely visit our blog so that you can then understand more around like how you will want, you can actually build something that's specific to your business. Because the thing is, right, with the website builder, it caters to, you know, a lot of different people who are building different things, right? So if you're interested in particular, like a portfolio website, for example, or maybe trying to build a simple services website, these are actually information that you can find on the GoDaddy Asia blog, asia.godaddy.com/blog. And definitely, if you have more questions, feel free to message us, you know, like drop us a message on Facebook, or you know, contact our GoDaddy guys. They're more than happy to point you to specific things that will help you to, you know, get your website off the ground and be able to cater something that's specific for your vertical and for your needs. Yeah. Let me see if there are other questions. Okay, we have about like two and a half minutes left. I'm gonna probably take one or two more questions. Okay, for Shabir, I will drop the link in the chat once we, you know, once this Q&A session ends. But yeah, definitely we do have that, and you can watch that if you want to find out a little bit more about you know, what SEO is all about and how you can actually implement that for your website. Okay, let's see. I have a question around like how much does it cost? This really depends on the subscription plan that you're on. We do have a 30-day free trial, so definitely visit our website if you want to find out more. Because the thing is, depending on the plan that you subscribe to, and also because we have things like adding on like domains and other services, right? The cost can vary, but definitely it's something that's affordable for everybody. And most importantly, it is not something that requires you to have very, very complex technical knowledge to get started. All right, we also have, okay, I'm going to answer one last question. I think that's something that was also asked previously by another attendee. Okay, what social media platforms would you recommend other than your personal website for personal branding? Personally, for me, it really depends on what sort of space you're in, right? So for me, I am basically a marketer, right? And I provide like marketing services to, you know, like any companies. In this case, I'm working for GoDaddy, right? So I would say LinkedIn is really important. But at the end of the day, for anybody who has something, who has more than, you know, like a little blurb about yourself, you really want to talk about your services and what you offer, right? A website should be kind of like a central, like I would say your central repository where everything is, you know, like the most detailed, updated. And thereafter, you basically lead traffic from other places to your website. And in this case, with social media, for service providers, LinkedIn is great. And I would also venture to say that if you are a platform, sorry, you are a portfolio builder, somebody who has creative portfolios and visual works to show in particular, right? I think Instagram is so a very great platform, or even TikTok, because you want a place to also be able to showcase snippets of what you're doing so that people are very interested to find out more, and thereafter hit your website where they can see everything. It really depends on what are the key strengths of the various platforms, and you can definitely evaluate that before you pick on which one you want to use, because I do think it is not very possible to maintain a presence everywhere. It can be very, very challenging. Yes, and with that, we've come to time. Thank you so much. It's been a great session. There's been some really, really good questions being asked, and we hope we have managed to answer all of them. One thing I'm going to talk about is for those who are already like raring to go, we have a promotion right now where you can actually get a free domain when you sign up for a professional email. Super quick plug here, if you're keen, either you can message us, you can go to our website to find out more. And with that, thank you very, very much to all of you today for attending this session. And if you're keen to find out more about events, please follow us on our social media handles and go to our website. And also, I've dropped the link within the chat box to actually our to our events portal, where you can actually stay updated on all the upcoming events. And most importantly, if you have really any questions, right, please feel free to message our GoDaddy guy, and we are more than happy to assist you, especially if there's something that is very specific to your needs. Let me quickly just drop some of the handles or some of the resources that I mentioned. Just give me one moment. Right. Okay, before you go off, I have basically dropped everything that you need to know about our website builder, any resources that you might need, and also basically if you need to get in touch with us, if you need somebody to guide you through this process, there's actually a link in the chat box right now for you to request a call back, and one of our capable guide team will actually give you a call to help you with anything that you might need. So with that, thank you very much. And yeah, be real, get real, and be online. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much, Kaleng and Jade, of course, for the great presentations and demo. And a huge thank you to Tina and Jenny for working super hard in the background. I think we have almost 50 questions, and they managed to go through a majority of those. But I think due to time constraint, we still have a couple that are left unanswered. But fret not. Thank you to Kaleng for dropping all of the way that you can reach out to GoDaddy. So be sure to reach out to them. Make use of their resources, and hopefully you'll be able to build a great digital presence after this session. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you in the next session then.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, see all of you on the other side.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.